Welcome back to Fatman in the Kitchen. What we're going to do is start a little bit of an Italian segment, and over the next few weeks we're going to show you how to make a basic alfredo sauce and a basic marinara that will lead into other items down the road. But for right now, we got to batten down the hatches. We got to make sure we got a hurricane coming. You want to make sure you have plenty of beer in the house. Your freezer's full so that when the power goes out, you've got plenty of stuff to cook. And good luck everybody with the storm. And just remember, they're all big games. Hey, how are we doing tonight? Tonight we're going to make a simple, easy alfredo sauce. As easy as it gets. We're going to use a stick of butter. We're going to use a couple cups of fresh grated Parmesan cheese. We're going to use a pint, or for those that have been brought up in the education system of our country, 16 ounces of heavy cream or light cream, you're choosing. And we're going to use, no we're not. Some people use nutmeg in their Alfredo. We don't. We just go with the basics and the good easy taste. We might add a little pinch of garlic just for flavor. That's because we like garlic. So we're going to get started on that. All we have to do is melt the stick of butter. Okay, we've melted the stick of butter. You want to melt that gradually. You don't want to burn the butter. And you want to add the pint of cream into the mix. And then we're going to bring that to a heat. And we don't want to add the Parmesan cheese until this gets hot. Not too hot. We don't want it bubbling. But once it gets hot, where we'll melt the Parmesan cheese, we'll add the parm in. That's it. You can go now.
No story?
No, no story. You told me not to do a story. Alright, we've got the butter and the cream is starting to come to a little frothing, and that's probably a good time that we can start adding a little bit of the cheese at a time. We're just going to slowly add that in and mix it in and let it melt slowly so we can avoid it becoming one clump. Now this is also great. After you've made this sauce, you can saute some mushrooms to go on there. You can saute some shrimp, some scallops, whatever you want to add to this Alfredo at the end to put over your fettuccine. You can add chicken if you want, whatever you want to add to it. This is just a basic start. Have a nice creamy sauce. Go over your pasta. Now once you've added your parm in there, it's going to look like it's thin. Once it sets, it's going to thicken up a little bit. So basically what you have here is a stick of butter, about 6 or 7 ounces of Parmesan cheese, 16 ounces of heavy cream. You've got a pretty simple Alfredo sauce. If you want to add any spices to it, you can. The only thing I like adding, because I can't help myself, is just a pinch of garlic. Not a lot, just a little bit, because I just can't stay away from garlic. And then you get that all mixed together and all heated. Set it aside, reheat it when you cook your fettuccine, and you've got fettuccine Alfredo. Again, you can add a million things to it, have a great meal, nice little salad, some fresh bread, you're off and running. Thanks again. Alright, today what we're going to do is just make a basic red sauce, just to get us started down several avenues after the sauce is made. There's a lot of different ways you can make this. I'm just making a marinara so we can use it with everything down the road. We've got about a cup of olive oil that's getting warm on the stove. We're going to add 1 chopped onion to that and cook it up. We're also going to add got about 4 or 5 garlic cloves. We're going to add that in with it. And then we're going to let that saute a little bit until we get those olives, and excuse me, the onion, a little translucent. And while we're doing that, I'm going to show you the other ingredients that we're going to be using in this. We've got a tablespoon of oregano. We've got 2 teaspoons of basil. We have a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of black pepper, and a teaspoon of red pepper. I like throwing that red pepper in to give it a little bit of spice when I'm not using any meats or hot sausage in my marinara. We're going to have about 12 ounces of tomato paste, and we're going to use 5 cans, 4 of which are crushed and 1 diced. Now you can do 3 crushed, 2 diced, however you want to do that. But you'll play with it. If it sounds good to you, go ahead and try it. And if you don't, if you try this and you say, well, I want a little more spice or a little less oregano and some more basil, you go ahead and do that. As my grandmother used to say when she used to make her sauce, and I'd say, how much you use, Gram? She'd say, taste it. Just taste it and you'll know. So whatever, everybody's got different tastes. Taste it and you'll see. And by the way, that's my grandmother who was married to my grandfather, Fred White, who killed Geronimo. Or so the story went when we were kids. He told us that he pushed Geronimo off a cliff. And that's why when you were kids, you'd jump off of something and you'd yell Geronimo. And he was the one, Fred White, or as he used to say, Simple Fred, who killed Geronimo. He was also the only one that survived the Alamo, as he told it. He said he just laid down and played dead. So now we have these onions just about translucent, and you can smell that garlic coming up. Always a wonderful smell with the garlic. Now if we were using Italian sausage in here, we'd be sauteing that with these right now. So like I said, we're making a meatless sauce. So we're just going to go with that. Those onions are just about ready. So we're going to add our tomatoes. Once you've added your cans of tomatoes, don't let anything go to waste. Rinse those out with a little bit of water. And get all those tomatoes out of those cans. And add those right in. I'm going to throw that paste in there. Give it a little stir together. Got this on about a medium heat. You want to continue stirring this as it cooks as well every few minutes, or it will stick to the bottom, and we don't want that. Even though we're going to keep it on a low heat, you're going to want to go by the stove every time you go by over the course of the day. You're going to want to give it a stir about every 5 or 10 minutes. And we're going to throw the spices in. A little bit of pepper and salt. Oregano. A little bit of basil. Give it another good stir together. And like I said, as you're cooking it, you'll be cooking this for, you can cook it as long as you want or as short as you want, but usually the minimum you're going to cook this would be a couple hours, and then you can cook it about 2 to 4 hours. Or if you want to do it like I do, I throw it on in the morning, on a weekend morning, and I keep cooking it all the way through to dinner time. Especially if I have some meats in. we're going to let that simmer for about 4 hours, like I said. We'll keep stirring it as it goes. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your basic marinara that we'll use on all sorts of stuff, from chicken parm to eggplant parm, or any dish that needs a marinara. We've got this ready to roll.